Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Super Hangout with Keith Barker. You know what? I'm not even going to do an intro. Everybody knows who Keith is. Let's go ahead and let Keith talk.
All right, awesome. So stay in the picture with me, Jack. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone over here. So who is online? Do we see who is online?
Not at the moment. No, not yet.
Oh, we're recording this too, though, are we not?
We are recording.
I'm with you. So I do have some questions that we've gathered over time. So let's start with those.
Yes, sir.
All right, a question from Andy is that, Keith, where should I go after CEH? Well, the acronym for CEH, of course, is Certified Ethical Hacker, which is a great entry level into the world of hacking. And people often say, why would we learn how to hack? It's not illegal. Well, hacking without permission is illegal. But knowing the techniques that hackers use and methods they use can help us build the shores and make it stronger. And so that's why Certified Ethical Hacker is so great. So you can learn what they're going to do, and then you can actually put the mitigation steps in place to help protect against it. So the question is, I'm currently a network engineer. I found myself really interested in security after taking your pen testing course. Do I need to learn Python? The answer is no. But if you know Python, you're going to be way ahead of the game. So with any kind of hacking, you want to know Linux pretty well. You want to know some Python. I'm not a really great programmer, but I do know a little Python. You'd also want to have some basic familiarity with networking, such as how networks operate, the TCP/IP protocol stacks, how applications work, how they interact. And so where would I go after? So if a person has, for example, Network Plus knowledge, ICD-1 knowledge, they have CEH, probably offensive security would be a really great next big step. There's also CISSP, which is just more, it's not a paper cert, but it's more of a, take an exam and get a cert. And the other cert is like offensive security or like college, it's like the PhD in hacking.
Can I ask you something about that? Is that what they call the white hat hackers?
I don't think they have a label. A white hat is a good person, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, if a person takes a tool like Cane-Enable, which has been around forever, and they use it against an illegal method, you're a black hat. You're a black hat person. If you're using it completely on the good side, you're a white hat. So as far as black hat or white hat, just it's where you use the tools with or without permission.
Okay.
If you're not quite sure, gray.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then there's the gray, and nobody knows where those guys are.
Yeah. So so offensive security is like the PhD of hacking. And you really have to know your stuff to do that. Okay, let's see here. Currently, says Alexander, currently I'm studying CCNA security and want to know what devices should be in the home lab for the CCNA security exam. Also, what would be the best topology step to cover all exam topics? And I've got great news. There's like 4 nuggets in that course that walk you through specifically all the detail and how to set them up. So it's going to include an ASA, which you can do virtually, and I give you the exact details on how to do it. And you'll need to set up some VPNs and such. Now the key is that there's a new there's the Firepower services that Cisco has, and they weren't really incorporated into CCNA security. Mm-hmm. So you don't really need to have Firepower functionality in the lab for that certification. Mm-hmm. So I would say watch the first 4 videos on building the lab, or the lab videos, and that has all the details on exactly what you need, how to do it, how to set it up.
That's awesome advice, because I know there are a lot of people in security that have seen the what is it called again? The Firepower.
Oh, Firepower. Yeah,
the Firepower security appliances.
Right.
And people are getting confused. People outside of CPT Nuggets are talking about, well, is that going to replace ASA? Is that coming on down the horizon? Because Firepower is being completely grasped or adopted by Cisco.
Yep. So that's a good conversation piece. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So about 20 years ago, there was a company called Checkpoint out of Israel, and Checkpoint makes great security products. Mm-hmm. Great. They make something called a Unified Threat Management System. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's a firewall, but in addition to firewall, it has application layer inspection, so you can be very granular. It has URL filtering and data loss prevention and a whole bunch of really cool stuff. Well, Cisco for ASA, many years ago, they had PIX, P-I-X.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, and then they had the ASA version like 6, and then 7, then 8, now 9, and now the ASA. So the trick is stateful firewalls are old school. I mean, everybody is assumed to have them. That's where traffic goes out, and dynamically the return traffic is allowed to come back in. But traffic that's initiated on that side is denied. So a stateful firewall does. Well, Cisco has been behind the game in security for firewalls, sorry, Cisco, for a long time. And so companies like Palo Alto are eating their lunch for unified threat management system. So Palo Alto, Checkpoint have great solutions. So the ASA they acquired Firesight, a company that basically had the additional UTM functionality, and they basically bolted it onto the ASA. So it's and you can buy one with the integrated pieces and so forth, but you had a module, and effectively it's the additional functionality of a next generation firewall added to the ASA. So you have an ASA firewall plus those additional features that Checkpoint's had for decades and that Palo Alto has had ever since they've started. So that's what it is. So it's the basic functionality of stateful firewall is taken for granted. Everybody does. And the firepower is the added functionality for data loss prevention, data inspection, proxy services going out, and URL filtering, all that kind of stuff, all integrated.
I always assumed that the firepower kind of was born out of the Sourcefire.
They bought that technology. So Cisco bought the company.
And then they revamped it.
Exactly.
And with Chris, with Cisco's logo.
With ASA. And they made it integrate with ASA. That's what they did. So that was like 3.5 years ago they bought it. And it's been, now it's, it's getting adopted and used and more. Still not the most popular firewall solution out there for unified threat management, but that's what they're doing. And they're getting some ground, not significant. But.
Well, it's enough that people new to security are going to hear it and think automatically, hey, that's a Cisco product. That's the way that anyone with Cisco networks want to go.
Right, and it's true. If you're a Cisco shop and you're doing firewalling, you're going to want next generation firewall features. You're going to want, I forget, is it Firesight or Firepower? The company I think was called Firesight or Sourcefire.
Sourcefire.
Okay, and then they basically, rebranded the name into their product line, which is now Firepower. I think maybe Firesight is their management station. I haven't actually used it. I'll tell you what. Cisco, okay, here's a little, Cisco is modifying the SITCS course. And they're integrating the Sourcefire technology in that. And so as a result, I will be getting the Sourcefire technology and going to some classes on it, learning it, so I can add those nuggets.
Now that might confuse someone starting out in CCNA security because they're going to see ASA and then you see all these other dimensions.
A lot of modules to CCNA security.
Okay.
So once the SITCS incorporates it, I'll probably add one more module. Also, while I'm doing the whole update, I'll probably add a nugget to CCNA security. Say, hey, by the way, here's Sourcefire. You probably heard about it. Here's how it works. Here's the basics of it. And if you want to learn more, you can go back to the SITCS course, which is being updated.
Awesome.
And that may not be public knowledge yet to Cisco, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, we hear little things a lot in the community, and firepower has been one of those things that's mentioned. For the most part, people who are starting out on their CCNA security journey, they're more confused on whether they should buy an ASA or go virtual.
Virtual, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Unless you have lots of money and you don't care. But there's nothing you can, on the ASA, as far as basic functionality, which is all they need for the CCNA security, all that can be done virtually. And I show them exactly how to build that virtual firewall in the nuggets. Can
we talk about viral? How does the ASA image work in there? Is it enough?
Yep, does everything.
Awesome, yeah. People studying always want to get their lab as perfect as possible. So that's definitely going to help.
Yeah, and GNS3 also works perfectly.
Cannot forget GNS3. Many of us grew up on it.
In the nugget, I show them how to do it in GNS3. So, and it's step by step.
Awesome. And would there be any change between GNS3 and viral, the way that the way that you configure everything?
No, I suppose it's the environment's up. It's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. We have a few more questions if you wanted to grab them.
All right. Let's see here. What is the vision for CBT Nuggets and student learning in the next 3 years? Says Sprawl. Great question. The mission statement for CBT Nuggets is to improve the experience of the IT professional, help them learn, right? And the way we do that is by finding methods and techniques that are more effective and applying them. So we have virtual labs that we're working on various platforms. Anything that we can do to help make the learning experience easier. For example, water takes the path of least resistance. So do humans many times. If we can make it easier for you, the learner, or for us, the learner, because we're all learners too, if we can make it easier for the learner to, if it's easier to learn it as opposed to not learning it, how would that be?
Yeah.
It's like, So we're everything we do is designed to make it fun, engaging, and like, hey, this is great. And also the pain is if you don't do this, if you don't learn this, it's going to be a lot of hard knocks in the real world. So our goal is to make it easier. So the vision of CBT Nuggets is to always make the experience for the IT professional easier and enjoyable.
Absolutely.
So that's going to continue with whatever that may look like with virtual reality goggles or what have you. I don't know. That takes a lot of, I'm not sure what the value is. We've looked at that with the virtual reality goggles, like Google Cardboard or the nice ones. But the thing is, if I'm sitting in a virtual classroom and I can look around, I can see Jack and I see other people and I can see the instructor or at least go see the whiteboard. I don't know how much of a value that brings as compared to just watching the whiteboard.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's distracting. Hey, oh, there's teaching going on.
Yeah, to me, for the most part, sitting there watching someone looking into the camera, talking and explaining a topic to me, okay, yeah, that has its advantage. But watching from the point of view that we have in CBT Nuggets, you cannot beat it because we're looking over Keith's shoulder. He's saying, hey, come here. And you're setting up the lab, you're drawing, you're doing everything that you're doing. And I feel like I'm sitting right here next to you looking over your shoulder. Yeah. I think that is, that's key for our learners.
That's our model.
Yeah. And it would be impossible to tell you all of the things that we think of. I mean, on a daily basis, we think of like hundreds of different ideas that could help. Not all of them make it to fruition, you know. But what Keith is saying, where the whole team, the whole company is focused on one goal, and that's improving the learning experience for IT professionals. And yeah, I don't think there's any other way to say it.
Yeah. So let's see if I got all these. CCNA security, vision, CEH. Here's another one. Do we have more? How much time do we have left?
Oh, we've still got 15 minutes.
Okay. This question says, I've got a background in Microsoft Server. Congrats. Good job. Mostly working with collaboration, Exchange, etc. I relocated and now I'm interested in taking more of a Linux path. I've used PowerShell for several years and have a decent understanding of Bash. What cert should I go after? I was thinking Network Plus and Security Plus. Any ideas appreciated? So we were talking about this, Jack and I, before the webinar and the Hangout. So there are a few Linux courses that we have. Sean does a great job of creating those. There's the LPIC, you said?
Yes, both of the LPICs, 1 and 2, and then
Linux for the real world. So those are great. I think also maybe learning a little programming with Python or Perl or whatever you want to would be helpful. As far as Network Plus, that is good for everybody because whether you're in a virtualized environment, it could be Microsoft, it could be VMware, it could be AWS, whatever you're doing as far as networking goes, there's still packets that have to go back and forth. So understanding how that works, that's going to be valuable everywhere. So I would say Network Plus from CompTIA is a fantastic certification to get just as a baseline, entry level, to make sure you have all your I's dotted and T's covered. It's not like, oh, I got my Network Plus certification, now go hire me to design the network. But it's a fantastic, you know, it's a check in a checkbox to say, yes, this person has a basic foundation of knowledge across these areas. And for Security Plus, I don't know. Security Plus is, again, everybody's concerned about security, but not everybody has to have that as their job role. So for somebody who's not primarily responsible for security, the Security Plus may or may not be a huge benefit for them. I mean, it's like, oh, here's the terrible things that can happen. Here's how you mitigate against those. Here's how you protect your networks. That's all good stuff. But like, for example, my brother works for IBM. He's been there 30 years. He's a programmer and does all things. He probably wouldn't need a Photoshop class, is all I'm saying. Yeah. It's just different from what he works on a daily basis. I mean, Photoshop for him is not going to be that helpful. So I would say anytime we're going to take a course or a class or a certification, just kind of look at where that is going to take you or help you, and then say, okay, in 5 years, if I get the certification, does that get me closer to my goals? And the answer is no. Do something that will. Either learn something that will help you without certification, or get a certification, either way that helps you go in that direction.
Great advice. Can we expand on it? So basically what you're saying is Network Plus is a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone.
Okay.
All the certs are actually. Yeah.
There we go. And each time you take a new step, you get to a new level, and that's when you can start expecting, you know, better treatment, better, you know, come on.
Possibly.
Help desk guys. Our help desk guy was just under this desk a few minutes ago, sorting out the wires, trying to get us all online. Yeah. Help desk guys, we get kicked to the curb. We get kicked under the desk, and we're told sort out the wires. So that being said, yesterday we talked with Anthony, and he was talking about how valuable A+ is now. I think grabbing the Network Plus, if you don't have anything else so far, grabbing that Network Plus is definitely the direction you want to go in, just like Keith is saying, because that's going to open up so many different doors for you.
Yeah. Another thing too is that I got my CCNA first one in 2001, and I took about 8 months to study for that. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, about 20 hours a week, and for 8 months, just studying, labbing, practicing. And I passed it the first time only because I'd really studied everything on the blueprint. I just practiced everything. And then I thought, oh, great, I've got my CCNA, I've arrived. And I realized it was on the same day. Well, maybe the next day. First day I was really happy. But the second day I was like, okay, I really have an opportunity to really learn now. Because, I mean, I learned a whole bunch of stuff. But now just that base knowledge, as I looked at solutions and looked at networks and issues, I can see it from a slightly different perspective because of the knowledge I have. So it's funny that, like reading a book, if I read a book one day and then I come back a year later, I read the same book, I'm going to get new things out of it. And that's because my context is different. So the secret is never stop moving your feet. Just one step at a time, one day at a time, getting better and better, studying, and then stuff moves. Like you know, everything's not the same direction it was, and it won't be. In 10 years, we're going to just continue doing this, and that's why it's very important to get certifications and training fairly quickly so you can get learning, apply it. Like I have a friend who works for AWS, Amazon Web Services, and he's upset. It's funny. He makes 6 figures. He studied with CBT Nuggets. He learned networking through CBT Nuggets. He's upset that he doesn't get to do everything he learned on his job at AWS. I'm not kidding. He's like, I never get to configure Cisco routers anymore. They're using this and that and the other, and I'm using templates, and I'm putting in, you know, it's like.
Have you looked at your paycheck?
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry they don't have you configuring EIGRP with DMVPNs. I know you like DMVPNs. It's fun to set up, but they don't use that. So anyway, they're all, I think it's a stepping stone. And, you know, I told him, my coaching for him was, what are they using? They're using scripting. I can't remember it could be Python. But so he says, all the guys that are so awesome, they're just like with scripting, because everything's done script-wise and they have controls in place. It's fantastic. And he's not that good at scripting. I said, well, dude, you're on this contract. It was like 6 months, I think. I said, why don't you take an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and practice scripting, right? And get better. Like you won't be as good as them by the end of the year, but you could probably get like twice as good as you are now. Yeah. And so that's the secret. If you're in an environment, they've got voice over IP or collaboration or Microsoft Exchange, or they got VMware or whatever it is, that's what you should be focusing on. And if you don't have any job or you don't have any career yet, start with A+. If you don't have any computer experience, if you have a little computer experience in Network Plus, and then just look and keep moving. That's the secret. Like if you don't have any, if you're not working gainfully and you're not gainfully employed, I'm not saying what people should do, but what you should do is keep moving your feet in a direction. It's like, well, there's no point. I can't get a job. It's like, well, start studying the topics they need. Like for example, if I had to mow lawns for a living, I would do it. If I didn't know how to mow a lawn, I could get training on how to mow a lawn, and I could start mowing lawns. And as I start mowing lawns and get a little money in, I could then say, okay, what's my next best option, right? I need to sleep, I need to eat. Maybe I should start, you know, studying how to do hedge trimming as well, and I can increase my business. It's all the same. Wherever you're at, take a next step in the positive direction, and just don't stop moving your feet. That's how I got. I'm 52. I'm old, but you know, I don't have a college education. I didn't want to go to college. I thought, college, I hate school. And I learned that if you don't go to college, you pay for it later. So anyway, but the secret is I just got out. I went to EDS, Electronic Data Systems, back in, actually there was a Control Data Institute course I went to in '85. Then I got a job with EDS. And then I just started learning, keep going. My favorite story of my entry-level career was I went to an interview with EDS back in '85. And I asked Anita, that's her name. I said, Anita, what can I do right now before you pick your final applicant for for the job. What can I do between now and then so that if I did get hired, I'd hit the ground running? And I was serious. And so she said, here's an HP laser jets. We're brand new in '85. She goes, here's the manual HP laser jets. You can, you can study that. And then in your follow-up interview, you can get that book back to me. So I studied it, and then when I came back, she asked me, okay, what did you learn? I said, well, you have the corona wire, you have the transfuser, the fuser roller, thank you, and the corona wire that has a positive charge. And she was impressed that I actually took steps to do something, even though I wasn't like, this isn't your job yet. But I got that job, and that was I was working on IBM PCs, and it wasn't glamorous, but I kept learning. Then I met a guy named David Nelson, and he worked for Novell at the time. He was a big network guy, and that was and Novell was king of networks in the late '80s.
Yes.
So Dave Nelson, like, oh, look at that guy, he's doing networking with coax cable. So I was like, how does that work? So he kind of, took me under his wing and showed me how things worked. And I went to school, I went to other classes to learn it, and then I just kept learning. So that's how I got to, a dual CCIE and certifications in Checkpoint and Palo Alto and HP Master ASE and
just
et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's one at a time.
Yeah.
One at a time. And,
one step at a time. How do you eat a whale? One bite at a time.
That's exactly right. So I'm not sure how we got on that topic, but it's pretty important. It's pretty important.
We've got a few minutes left, and I'm going to be asking all the Cisco trainers the same thing.
Okay.
CCNA is on everybody's minds.
Route switch, collaboration,
route switch,
wireless.
Because it just revved. Come on.
All right.
He's messing with me.
I am.
V3. What do you think learners can expect? Number one. Number two, at this point, we know it's coming up. We're a couple months away from it. How do you think, what would be the best way for a learner to kind of adjust so that they can prepare for the V3 exam? Now, let me give you a scenario. I have many people that I'm mentoring that are starting on the V2, and I'm going to take them through all the way up to OSPF, and then I'm going to stop there and add in whatever else we're missing from the blueprint.
Okay.
How else would you suggest for others to approach their studies with the idea that they might not be taking V2, they might have to take
We're talking about our customers?
Yes.
CBT customers? The family that we love?
Our people.
Our people. Okay, here's the deal. Well, here's what I would do. At the end of the day, the differences between version 2 and version 3 are going to be very minor. So here's what I would do. I'd say if you're currently studying the current course with Jeremy Chara, continue on. There's also some other great resources. The the routing troubleshooting mastery videos that Anthony and I made. There's the CCNA hands-on labs with GNS3 and Wireshark, which are amazing because they lab up little teeny scenarios, you Wireshark it, and then verify the results.
By the way, they're straight to the point. I love those labs. I recommend them to everybody. If you're thinking about networking, watch that series. You'll see how it's set up. Sorry.
It's great stuff. And in and out, nobody gets hurt, right? That's
yes, exactly.
So I would say continue studying the current version, because nothing you learn there will be like, oh, I don't need to know this. You need to know it. They're not really they may take some topics and say, oh, this may be not as important anymore. That's okay. Maybe one video that you, oh gosh, I really didn't have to learn. I can't even think of a topic you don't have to learn. And then once the new course comes out, then what I would do is I'd say, okay, here are the significant differences, and here's the 5 videos or whatever it is that the new topics that weren't there before.
Okay.
It's not going to be significant.
Fair enough.
It's not.
And I really want the trainers to say that, because even though we're talking about it in the community, there are still people that are still confused. Oh my God, should I even bother? Well, maybe I should just learn programming. Well, if you want to be a programmer, go ahead. Right. We have great programming. But if you want to learn networking, specifically CCNA, if you're thinking about it, I don't think there's any real need to worry. I mean, if you look at compare the two blueprints, they're not that different. So
if somebody studied the current CCNA that Jeremy has, ICD-1 or ICD-2 or both, they currently studied all that. And then they took the new exam, old certification content that we train them, new exam, and they really knew it, they would pass. You don't have to get 100%.
That's the way I'm thinking.
If you know the technology, I mean, routing tables are routing tables are routing tables. Switches are switches are switches. MAC addresses, layer 2 addresses, they work the same. They may have more emphasis in IPv6 or something, but that's to be seen. So, but even then, we've got some great IPv6 training.
Awesome. Yes, we do. And who's the guy that did that?
Some
was that
skinny guy.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Big Cisco guy, I heard. Yeah, in the security. Couple more minutes left.
All right.
Cisco Live. Where are you going to be? What you going to be doing?
I'm currently doing a presentation at Cisco Live again, teaching MPLS layer 3 VPNs. If you don't use MPLS at all, that may not be interesting to you, but just that one session, maybe 2 times this year. But you can look it up on Cisco Live's website.
Yeah, I plan on attending. I think you're teaming up with Scott Morris.
Yeah, Scott and I are team teaching for our 5th year in a row there.
Awesome. Does he still have that $2 million lab?
Well, you know how fruit works? You know what I'm talking about?
What, when it rots?
Yes.
That's what
So technology is like that too. So if somebody had a $2 million basement full of gear 5 years ago, it's probably worth about $200,000 now, based on it's like 65
depreciation.
It's just the old technology, but yeah, he does. Yeah, and he has more current stuff than that. I'm just teasing.
That is awesome.
He's still got a major lab infrastructure. He's a great guy.
That is awesome. Keith, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We always love having you in the community, and we wish you the best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and end this. We will post the recording later today, so thank you for joining us.